Hi there everyone, back with another video, and in this video we will be learning an important concept in JavaScript, that is functions. So please bear with me guys till the end of the video because I will be explaining you in depth about this functions concept with the real-time scenarios and all the things in depth, and with the help of examples. Yeah, with the help of examples I will be explaining you in depth about the functions, and so that you will be knowing all the things that comes under function. So yes, coming to the point, in functions you need to understand four things. First is function declaration, and the secondly parameters in functions, and thirdly you need to understand default values in a function, and fourthly you need to understand returning a value from a function. So these are the things that you need to understand thoroughly in order to master functions concept in JavaScript, right? So with that being said, let's jump in with the sub concepts in function. So it's a function declaration, guys. Again, what do you mean by a function in JavaScript? So function in general, guys, function is a sub program. It contains its own logic in order to perform some particular task. So that is what we call it as a function. So we will be having a separate function for a separate task. That's what we do in all of the program development. So with that being said, let's jump in with a function declaration. So guys, how to declare a function in JavaScript? So first you need to have a keyword called as function, and the name of the function, like I'll just say facts for simplicity's sake, and then you need to have a brackets, and at the last you need to have a body of the function. This is what we call it as a body of a function. So this is what you call it as a body. So within this braces we will be having all of the logic here in this body, right? So this is how we declare. So let's save this and refresh the page. What happened? I'm not getting anything. The reason is because I did nothing here. So I will just say console, and in the console I will just say hi, this is our first function, right? So this is our first function, and let me save this and refresh. Wow, I am not getting anything here, right? The reason is, guys, we have, of course, we have declared a function, and we have also have some kind of a logic in here, but we are not executing it, right? So in order to execute it, you need to call this function like this. So fact, and then the brackets and the semicolon, and save this and refresh. Boom, we got the thing, right? So first you need to declare a function, and then the call that function with its name, right? So this is how we will declare and define a function in JavaScript. So with that being said, let's jump in with the next thing, that is a parameters in function. So yes, of course, we can input something to its function in order to get some processing based on that input, right? So what I will be doing here is I will just pass some kind of a parameter like 1, right? So if I just pass 1, I will just say yeah, I have 1 over here. That's it. So if it is not, I will be doing something else. Let me say if something is, if the logic is 1 over here, and I will be passing that over here as 1, and if it is not, I will just do something called as this. So I'll just say console.log I have 0. Just do that. I'll just say I have 0. That's it. So now how to receive this parameter and execute our logic? So it's very simple, guys. You need to have a variable in here, right? I will just say param. That's it. So now param is a variable. Of course, it's a parameter now, and it is a local variable to the function. So its scope of this variable will be within this function. So now if I just pass 1, and automatically our param will receive 1, and we'll have, let me say, if param is equal to that, and I'll refresh the page, and as you can see I have 1 over here printed in the console, right? So since, because I have passed 1, param will be 1. So if param is 1 and if condition is true, and we are executing the if condition, and that's it. So if I just pass 0 over here like this, and I will get, I have 0, right? So based on this parameter, I'm conditioning and branching out my logic, right? So this is what we call it as a parameters in any functions. And of course guys, we can pass multiple parameters like this, right? So it will be automatically substituted to its respective parameters like this param1, right? So make sure that you have a different parameters names. And if I just say param1 over here, and we'll get what I have 1. The reason is because the param1 will be 1, and since param1 is 1 and we have got the if condition, so if I just change it to param, and I will get I have 0, right? So yes guys, this is all about the parameters in function. So we can have some kind of parameters to this function and get the output, desired output, based on those parameters, right? So this is what we call it as a parameters in function. And let's jump in with the next thing, that is what we call it as a default values in function, right? So what do you mean by default values in a function? So now what I'm gonna do here is, I'll just, instead of passing one parameter, I'll just pass, yeah, instead of parameter, I'm sorry, yeah, instead of passing two parameters, I'll just pass one parameter. So now, as you can see here, we have two parameters in defined inside this function, but we are passing one parameter to this. So now what I'm gonna do here is, I will have a default value for param1 like 1 over here, just like that. So param1 is 1, which is a default value of param1 whenever I'm not sending the second parameter, and param1 will be by default it's 1. So I'll just refresh the page and refresh the page. I'm still getting, I have 0. The reason is because I'm working around with the param variable, right? So if I just make it as param1, let's check the output guys. As you can see, it's printing I have 1. The reason is because param1's default value is automatically 1, even though I have not sent any value. But so now if I just say, if I just pass 0 over here, so now the thing will be different. As you can see, I have 0. The reason is because since I have passed two parameters, default parameters will, the default value of this parameter will be overridden by the value which I have sent. So now I have sent 0, so param1 becomes 0, and since this is 0, the if condition is false, and we are executing the else part, and that's what we are getting in the output, right? So this is what we call it as a default values in a function, right? So this is all about it. And coming to the last thing guys, it's a returning value from a function, right? So we have, as you can see, we are not returning anything from this function back again to the calling stuff, right? So now how to return a value? So it is done with the help of a keyword called as return, just like this. I'm just say return 1. So with after executing all of this, I'm returning 1 to the calling function. So now I'm calling it here in this, just like this function. So what I'm gonna do here is, I will just call this function inside a console over here, like console.log, and inside this console I will just call this function, right? So let me check the output, and as you can see guys, first it has printed I have 0 because param1 is 0, and we got this output, and returning 1 after completion of this function, and 1 will be returned over here in this console.log, and after that we are same thing consoling it to the console, right? So if I just change it to 10, of course we'll get the same thing like 10, right? So this is how we will return, we will return a parameter. It's not a parameter, it's a value, it's a value to the calling thing, right? So if I just don't return anything, just like this, let me check what it returns, right? So I'm not returning now. Let me console and print after calling this function. Let me check what it's returning, what is the value that it returns whenever I have not returning anything, right? So if I just refresh the page, and as you can see here guys, it's returning undefined. So you need to understand here is, whenever I don't return anything, automatically this function, not this function, it all the general function which doesn't have a return value will return an undefined to its calling thing, right? So I have not returned anything, any value over here in this function, but by default it's returning undefined. So you need to make sure that it does return an undefined whenever I am not returning anything. So if I return something else, it will return the value which I have done here. So again guys, it is not an hardcore thing. I can also return a string like this. Return, I'll just say hi and save the thing, and as you can refresh the browser and it is it, right? So I got hi. So you can pass any parameters, just like let me say hi over here, and it will be thing, right? So since I have passed parameter as string hi, it is the true in if condition, and I'm getting I have one, and after that I'm returning hi, and I have got hi printed in this console, right? So as you can see here guys, it's line number 13, right? So in line number 13 I'm printing what? Hi, right? So in line number 19, so in yeah, it's line number 19, I'm printing this log over here. So you can go ahead and identify those things in this a link over here, right? So yes guys, this is all about the in-depth thing that you need to understand about a functions in JavaScript. So you need to understand declaration of a function, parameters and default values. This is the default values, and returning a value from a function. Yes guys, this is all about it, and I have explained you in depth about the functions in JavaScript. Make sure that you work around with and practice it and master it. And this is all about it, guys. The concept of functions in JavaScript. Yes, this is all about it. And guys, make sure that you subscribe to my channel and share this, like this, and also comment this video. I will be helping you out. Whenever you are stuck somewhere, please ping me in the comment section below. I'm ready to help you always. So yes guys, this is all about the functions in JavaScript, and see you in the next video.